Hi there. I think I'm back. Can you see and hear me? Yay. Thing. I wonder where everybody else is, Joan. Probably given up on me. Ah, good. That's good. Thanks, Jean. Aha. Yay. Well, it shouldn't be, Jean. I've stopped it. Okay, well, what I think I better do is start straight away, and hopefully we'll get through before I lose you all again. So, goodbye, Mr. Paddington. What I'm going to do first is show you, this is a book of hand stitching and papers that I bought some time ago from Ro Brunn, who is an Australian artist. Now, where have my controls gone? I've lost my controls. Hold on. Okay. Can't make my controls work. Okay, well let's see how far we get with this. Oops, sorry about that. This is the cover of the book, and it's all fabrics and hand stitching. Wish I could make my controls work. Oh well. Oh, well, we'll have to do it this way. So inside, she's put this nice little tag. Thanking me for buying it from her. And it's a mixture of pages of papers and fabrics. This is a piece of just a piece of nice paper she's inserted. You can write in this book, but I haven't been able to make myself do it yet. And I like this idea of stitching on the machine. This is obviously a stamp that she's coloured in, and she's stitched on this this piece, which then shows through to the other side as well. This seems to be some sort of, I think this is tracing paper or vellum paper, which is jelly printed and then stamped. And there are all sorts of different additions inside. The cola, it was it's an Australian lady called Ro Brun, ROBRUHN, and she didn't give it me. I bought this. I just happened to go online when she put it online for sale, and decided it was going to be mine. But there are all sorts of ideas that any of you could copy from here. These are just little squares of various papers that she's torn and stuck in, but leaving space for you to use as a journal. Yes, I do, Eileen. It's a nice idea, and even when you see it stitched through, the stitching on the back, it's makes it quite interesting. And this is an old doily that she's used as a hinge. And then attached it to another piece of fabric, which is all joined pieces of different fabrics. A bit more of her artwork. This looks as if it's got a covering of matte medium on it. Some Australian stamps. Shame Janet's not here. She'd like to see those. Well, she can probably see she can probably see the recording. And she's printed on the backs of some of the pages as well, for Yes, she's printed something different on the back to what she had on the front. More stitching, and it's stitched all the way round on this one. So many different ways you can do these things, isn't there? All of you have made papers that you could equally well use for this. And anything you do on paper, you can usually do on fabric as well. So you can have a mixture. Oh, that's her name. She's used as a bookmark. She will have done this with free machining, I think, without the foot on the machine. I'm not very good at that. I need more practice. This is a sweetie paper in the background. Can you see it shining? There's another nice fabric page with a bit of, that looks like a bit of crochet, either crochet or tatting, not sure which, with felt on the top. And there's a mixture of paper and fabrics on this page. And again, another doily used as a hinge. Her name, Eileen, is Ro Brun, ROBRUHN. She has a web page. She's actually about to start chemo for some sort of cancer. I've forgotten, uterine cancer. But she's still producing work, and she hopes to yes, it's Ro Brun, B for Bertie. One time I was able to write like that on the machine, but I really need to get it out and practice it again. Here she's used some little tea bag icons. And this is simple. You know, they're obviously intended to be trees, but it's so simple, and it's just a little stamp on some fabric, and she's cut it out. This is a nice page. I don't know if I can catch the light for you. Don't think I am catching it very well, but it's got a sparkly background. And I like the way things are hanging off the edges too, but I only like them hanging off the edges if they're not frayed. I don't like tatty edges to things myself. I think it's better to leave it down on the table than keep lifting it up. That's a nice page. I like that one. I think those are eucalyptus leaves. This is another sparkly page, which the light does catch it a bit, but I don't know how much it catches it. It's a good way to use up all the papers we make just for the sake of, just because we like making them. And it's good to have something to do with them. Like this one at this page as well. Mushrooms are sort of there, but not very prevalent. I could write on top of that. Another page with that looks like tissue, scrunched tissue paper on the top, stitched down, and again held in with a doily as a hinge. I think the way she's done these stitchings down the edges, she's managed to integrate very different sorts of papers and pages reasonably well together, I think. I like that. Can you read that? Yes, me too, Button. I can't bring myself to write in it. So that's that one. That's the back cover. And she's stitched them in and beaded where she's stitched them through. They're bound in a similar sort of way to how you do any sort of binding. That's that one. Now, I showed that to one of our guild members, and she decided to have a go, and she made this for me because I'd allowed her to look at the other book. So this one is this is a lady called Ilze, ILZE Smith. She's I think she's Norwegian originally, but she's lived in England most of her life. And I asked her to make it. I showed her the book, and she it's hard to get the things the right way around when I'm seeing everything backwards. So this is some of her pages, quite different from Rose. This is just 2 layers of cellophane or acetate with things trapped between. You see my hand through it. That's quite clever, and that's all machine stitched through the cellophane. And it's 2 layers of cellophane, and the backs, this side of the items, are different from the fronts. This one is just purely an interesting piece of cellophane she found and stuck in. Don't know how much you can see of that. There. Just, I think this is the sort of cellophane that flowers come wrapped in. Yes, you could do it with a laminator, Joan, but she opted to stitch it. Okay, more stitching. This is paper again, which she's I'm not quite sure how she's done that. Looks just like she splodged paint on and then added offcuts, strips of offcuts. Like that quote. That's an Oriental page. Another one of the ones with trapped pieces in it. All sorts of the shiny pieces and matte. Well, this is fun. Isn't that fun? Gail, this was made by one of the members of our stitching group after I had shown her the first book. A lady called Ilse Smith. I like this monogram too. That's sparkly if you get it in the right light. These rather duller pages are nice too. This looks like a piece of I think it's a piece of fabric that she's dyed, and so they all sort of go together. And these are little mirrors in here, little shisha mirrors. People collect things that they don't, little tokens and ornaments and things that they don't want any longer, and they give them to Ro to give them to Ilse to use in her books. Yes, it is nice having moving parts button like that too. And I love this edge of the ribbon sticking out. Now, having just said I don't like raggedy edges, that's different because it's more controlled. Another sparkly one. And she's trapped things, the cellophane on this one and things trapped inside. You could use this with our die cuts, Joan. And that little envelope with bits in it, just pretty little bits that she wanted to. Oh, that's a business card of Annabel Rainbow, who's another English textile person. That's a business card from somewhere in Spain. But she made a pretty little envelope. These are all nice too, like that little butterfly. You forget what's in here when you haven't looked at it for a bit. Like this idea too, like little picture frames with these are bits of pressed flowers inside and trapped. Actually, they're not trapped. They're on top of that backing, and these doors that open like that too. I hope it's giving you some ideas of what you could all do with your own pieces. Another one, little pocket to put things in. Another idea. She's got all sorts of tags on it, which are rather interesting. There's nothing written on them. They're just little tags. Another pocket idea. Oh, that's got a little dolly in it. I don't think it's meant to be hooked around here. Perhaps it is. Anyway, the button for her face and her tatty hair and spindly legs and arms. That's another nice page. And I think this is an old piece of embroidery she's incorporated here. And lace and insertion as well. And this is one that she's used. It's Tyvek, which she stitched all over and then used a heat gun on it and melted it. It goes into controlled holes when you stitch over it. It won't go any further than the stitching. That took a bit of doing. There's lots and lots and lots of little pieces of scraps in there that she's used. Some of them are sparkly. You can see if I move it. That's just cut out paper. This is nice. This is using some sort of texture paste with a brush and then painted over. No, she's done it with coloured things, I think. Then it's got the nice little tassels on it, handmade tassels, and it ties through this buckle. Sorry, ties through this buckle. So that's hers. And then I've started to make one myself, and mine is going to be about daisies. This is the front cover. I'm going to put some, I think you call it Wonder Under, on the back of these, and then I'll stitch around them to match that. And then this, which I'm currently working on, will be the back cover. Hi, CB, I didn't see you coming in. This is a piece of embossed cardia paper, which can you see it's embossed? You might be able to see it that side. Why has it gone out of focus? Go on. I embossed it in my Big Shot, and then scribbled over it with these are actually metallic colours, metallic crayons. And this was transfer painted onto Pelmet Vilene. Vilene is an interfacing. I think you call it, is it Visiflex? Is it Visiflex? You have a different name for it, I'm sure. Oh, sorry people are getting put in chat jail. This is what I'm going to stitch on this one, and this is one I've actually started to stitch. The stitching is across the bottom here. That's a piece of the painted transfer paper, which I've actually used. You iron it off onto the Vilene, but you don't exactly know what you're going to be getting, because the colours look very different on the paper to how they come out when they're printed. There's another version. And I've got some bits on tissue paper, which I shall cut up and use in various places. And I think this is that's on fabric. This is done with a rubber stamp. I've got a whole collection of daisy rubber stamps. And this is a little vase, of daisies I collected from my lawn. They're just little wild daisies, and I put them in this tiny vase, scanned them, and printed them onto fabric. Similarly with this one. This is on calico, and it's a hand-dyed one. That just tells, the number just tells me the name of the, how I did that dye. And I'm want to incorporate this this poem. It's the same poem repeated over and over. It says, "If you love me, bring me flowers, wild daisies, clutched in your fist like a torch. No orchids or roses or carnations, no florist bow, just daisies. Steal them, risk your life for them. The sharp hills, up the sharp hills, in the teeth of the wind." And I've just repeated that across just as a sort of textural background to something. So you'll have to watch this space for the rest of. I've got some. I've made a few tags that will be incorporated into it. As far as I've got the bits and pieces, but it'll be a long time getting it finally together. It's fun though. There's another piece I did with daisies. I may have shown you this before. One piece of I stitched this. This is tissue paper, scrunched it up, and then I stitched it down onto the background paper, which is then applied to this mirror. And these are a stamp that I've got. And it's nice pale colours. Cheap mirror from IKEA. One I may have shown you before, but I'm not 100% sure. This background fabric is organza, marbled with gold radiator paint. You float the radiator paint on top of a bath of water, and then fully this surface, and then I stamp on it. No, I drew this on it. I drew it and then traced it on. Oh, hang on, let's go down to the phone. She brought it over here.